While we remain tough against those who violate the laws of the sea, at the heart of the PCG is its humanitarian mission. During the onslaught of typhoons, there was no major maritime incident reported because of the proactive measures we took on the movement of vessels. Unfortunately, the heavy rains of Ompong triggered massive landslide in Itogon, Benguet, and Naga City, Cebu. During those unfortunate times, the PCG, our K9 units, and our partners in the PCG Auxiliary lent a hand in the search and rescue and retrieval operations. The PCG also undertook several medical mission flights to 22 patients during the dengue outbreak in Itbayat, Batanes last June, despite having only one operating aircraft. While these have been the highlights of our humanitarian missions, there have been countless heroic deeds of rescuing fishermen lost at sea and passengers of sinking or aground ships and seafarers on board international ships requiring emergency medical evacuation. Our efforts have resulted in assisting 3,931 persons in distress nationwide. Meantime, true to our commitment to protect and preserve the marine environment, the PCG has deployed its patrol vessels in Boracay during its rehabilitation. Likewise, during the island's 5-month closure period, the PCG used this opportunity to train 200 local residents to become lifeguards or resorts, beaches, and tour boat operators to improve their skills in saving lives. To further ensure security coverage and operations in Boracay, the PCG will ground break tomorrow the construction of the radar station in Mount Luho. This radar station is critical in monitoring vessel movement and in preventing the possible entry of terrorist elements in the island and its vicinity. Aside from the radar station in Boracay, the PCG will also build 20 other radar stations in critical areas in Mindanao, particularly in Samba Sulta, Palawan, and popular tourist destinations. 10 of these radars will be locally funded, while the other 10 will be donated by the Japanese government. On the issue of the Philippine Sea, the Philippine Coast Guard, pursuant to the President's guidance, met with the leadership of the Chinese Coast Guard. The two agencies agreed to put up a hotline communication mechanism which will provide direct communication link between China Coast Guard and Philippine Coast Guard. The system seeks to facilitate in search and rescue, piracy, drug trafficking, environmental protection, and other maritime issues under the purview of the Joint Coast Guard cooperations. While we pursue the path of Coast Guard diplomacy, the PCG continues to modernize and strengthen its force. The 82 offshore patrol vessel being constructed in France is expected to be delivered in September next year, while two 94-meter multi-role response vessels from Japan are scheduled to be delivered in 2021 and 2022. This will definitely improve our capability as we protect our maritime interests in the West Philippine Sea and the Philippine Rise. Just last week, two of the four patrol boats from France were commissioned in the Philippine Coast Guard Service, witnessed by Secretary Carlos Dominguez of the Department of Finance. The other two will be arriving next month. This will be used in anti-smuggling operations with the Bureau of Customs. As we just recently signed the Memorandum of Agreement for joint operations of the patrol boats to further strengthen anti-smuggling operations. Aside from modernizing our capital assets, we also put premium on our human resources. We would like to thank our partner countries such as the United States of America, China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and Sweden for advancing the skills and education. We also would like to extend our appreciation to the International Container Terminal Services Incorporated, or ICTSI, and the Rotary Club of Alabang Lampara for partnering with the Philippine Coast Guard in initiating the first ever award of its kind, the Lapu-Lapu Award for Maritime Professionals, or LAP. The award is bestowed to those who have excelled in the fields of maritime search and rescue, maritime safety, maritime security, maritime law enforcement, and marine environmental protection. This year, the Philippine Coast Guard will have the honor to be granted with the first set of awards, which will also be extended to other professionals in the maritime industry in the succeeding. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, may I have the honor to present to you this year's awardees. Captain Rolando Lisor Ponsalan for Maritime Safety. Captain Nelson B. Torre for Maritime Law Enforcement. Captain Inocencio C. Rosario Jr. for Marine Environmental Protection. Lieutenant Commander Erwin T. Tolentino for Maritime Security. And Lieutenant Ephraim Jason Disciano for Maritime Search and Rescue. Congratulations, gentlemen, and thank you. We seek to modernize and strengthen the Philippine Coast Guard because it is our country's first line of defense. We guard our vast maritime borders 24/7 because we cannot let threats to our nation's safety and security reach our shores. At the same time, when disaster strikes, we respond with urgency and without hesitation. This has been the Philippine Coast Guard's commitment, and we have firmly the last 117 years. Through time, maritime challenges have ever evolved, but so has the Philippine Coast Guard. Thanks to the Department of Transportation, Secretary Arthur Togadi, sir, and President Rodrigo Roa Duterte for the full support in improving the PCG's capability. As we invest in modernizing our resources, I trust that the men and women of the Philippine Coast Guard will find renewed drive to step up their performance and service to the nation. This is how we build confidence among stakeholders and cultivate the blue economy we hope to grow. In harmony with the Transportation Trust, the PCG shall ensure safe and secure maritime transport network to provide comfortable life to the riding public and the Filipino people. Again, welcome to the Philippine Coast Guard's 117th anniversary celebration. Mabuhay ang tanod baybayin ng Pilipinas. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you, Admiral Hermohino, sir.
We will now proceed to the highlight of this program, the presentation of the awards. As traditionally done, the PCG had evaluated the performance of its personnel and operating units that produced the best for the year to be recognized during its annual anniversary celebration.
And to give due recognition to our awardees, may we request our guest of honor, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, to present the awards. He will be assisted by the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Secretary Arthur P. Tugade, and the Commandant, Philippine Coast Guard, Admiral Elson E. Hermohino.
For the individual awards, judged as the Philippine Coast Guard Non-Officer of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Chief Petty Officer J.R. Mateo, Philippine Coast Guard of the Coast Guard District Northwestern Luzon.
Thank you and congratulations.
For having been adjudged as the Non-Uniformed Personnel of the Year, the plaque of recognition is presented to Ina Tabobo.
Thank you and congratulations. Judged as the Lighthouse Keeper of the Year, the plaque of recognition is presented to Administrative Aide 1, Donald A. Suaviso of Maritime Safety Services Unit, Coast Guard District, Bicol. Thank you and congratulations. At this point, we will now proceed to the conferment of awards to the Coast Guard Station of the Year Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, and the Substation of the Year. The classification of these units is based on the volume of maritime traffic in the respective regions. The PCG has 13 regional districts, 67 stations, and 324 substations situated in different coastal regions nationwide. They are the frontliners in the field, performing the mandates of the PCG.
For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Station Class Alpha of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Coast Guard Station Manila of the Coast Guard District National Capital Region, Central Luzon. Receiving the award is the Station Commander of Coast Guard Station Manila, Lieutenant Commander Airland F. Lapitan, Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you and congratulations. For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Station Class Bravo of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Coast Guard Station Lanao del Norte of Coast Guard District, Northern Mindanao. Receiving the award is the Station Commander of Coast Guard Station Lanao del Norte, Ensign Cherry Rose T. Manaay.
Congratulations. For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Station Class Charlie of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Coast Guard Station Cuyo of Coast Guard District, Palawan. Receiving the award is the Station Commander of Coast Guard Station Cuyo, Senior Chief Petty Officer Danilo V. Ubales, Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you and congratulations. For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Substation of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Coast Guard Substation Araceli under Coast Guard Station Cuyo of Coast Guard District, Palawan. Receiving the award is the Substation Commander of Coast Guard Substation Araceli, Petty Officer 2nd Class Hector S. Avila, Philippine Coast Guard. Thank you and congratulations.
As a seagoing agency, the PCG relies on its air and surface assets to accomplish its mission. At present, PCG has 34 capital ships, 34 small crafts, 300 small boats, and 4 aircrafts. In addition, PCG personnel man and operate 10 30-meter surveillance vessels of the Bureau of Fisheries, 10 44 multi-role response vessels from Japan, and 2 newly commissioned 24-meter fast patrol boats from France. They are strategically deployed over a wide maritime area to maximize presence. This year's high-performing assets are:
For having been adjudged as Craft of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Diesel Fast 314. Receiving the award is the boat captain of DF 314, Chief Petty Officer Ferdinand C. Manaay, Philippine Coast Guard. Thank you and congratulations.
For having been adjudged as the best monitoring, control, and surveillance vessel of the year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, MCS 3007. Receiving the award is the commanding officer of BFAR MCS 3007, Commander Antonio B. Santillonosa Jr., Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you and congratulations. For having been adjudged as the Ship of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to Barko ng Republika ng Pilipinas, Malabrigo, MRRB 4402. Receiving the award is the commanding officer of BRP Malabrigo, Captain Charlie Q. Rances, Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you
Thank
and
you.
congratulations. For having been adjudged as the PCG Aircraft of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby given to PCG Islander 251. Receiving the award is the Acting Commander of Coast Guard Aviation Force and the Pilot in Command of PCG Islander 251, Commander Philips Y. Soria, Philippine Coast Guard.
Once again, congratulations and thank you to all our awardees.
To formally introduce our guest of honor and speaker for today's occasion, may we request the Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Secretary Arthur P. Tugade.
Mga kababayan, ladies and gentlemen, ang ating panauhing pandangal sa anibersaryo ng Philippine Coast Guard, ang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Kindly sit down. Salamat po sa courtesy. I will read my prepared speech. Kaawa naman yung gumawa nito. But you know, it's just a 2-page, almost like a greeting. But if you will allow me, I will just add the sentiments of the day para we are kept posted on what we intend to do in government. Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade and the other members of the Cabinet, AFP Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez, Philippine Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Elson Hermohino, officials, enlisted personnel, and the 2018 awardees of the Philippine Coast Guard, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to join you today as we celebrate the many accomplishments of the Philippine Coast Guard in the past 117 years. The agency is more than a century of service to the Filipino people and has indeed been fruitful and is worthy of recognition. I congratulate the PCG for its achievements, which have led to the institution's greater participation in our collective task of nation building. The fulfillment of your mandate to enforce maritime law, protect our maritime environment, and secure our maritime territories has contributed greatly in keeping our people safe from the dangers that may come at sea. I am glad that the reforms that we have instituted 16 are now bearing fruit. The PCG's acquisition of new weapons, equipment, and several multi-purpose response vehicles and fast patrol boats that are complete with modern computerized system has indeed helped enhance our law and capabilities. Evidently, the success of the PCG would not have been possible without the contributions of its officers, its enlisted men, achievements, which have pushed for developments that are crucial in making the agency more efficient and responsive to the challenges of the times and to the demands of our citizens. To the awardees, this administration acknowledges your exemplary work in PCG. May you remain committed in performing our responsibilities as defenders of the land and protectors of us. Please know that all your sacrifices are truly and greatly appreciated. I urge the entire Philippine Coast Guard to build on its accomplishments and to continue its efforts in upholding our country's maritime security. More than ever, we need brave men and women like you in safeguarding our seas and shores, especially at this period when our resources are becoming crucial to the progress of our economy. Rest assured that while you had call of duty, the government remains steadfast in strengthening the capabilities of the PCG by raising its standards and streamlined infrastructures and modernized equipment. May these accomplishments that you celebrate today inspire everyone to work harder for the common good. Take this day as an opportunity to seek encouragement from your fellow troops as you advance the causes of PCG. Let us move and act further to empower the men and women of the Coast Guard and enhance the agency's services to benefit the Filipino people. Again, happy anniversary and receive, and I convey to you the gratitude of a grateful nation. Mabuhay! Now for the general opinion will move to TESDA. I will promote you to a cabinet member position. That's a General Jagger Guerrero, you are to move to the Bureau of Customs. Saan po kayo? Alam ko ayaw ninyong umalis sa marina. Walang marina dyan na babae, puro barko yan at bakal. Is Jagger here? I know that you are reluctant to, I know that you're happy there and you are contented, so I've heard. But the demands of public service and the need for honest men requires your presence there. Good luck. I will look for your replacement. Sino ba mag-retire dito na Navy na yung hindi binangga yung barko niya noon? But if there is one, then I'm sorry if you mishandle even a little bit our ships. I will look for the marina also coming from the Navy or Coast Guard, whatever. Kung sino lang ang pinakamahusay. Maybe you will report next week for I'm handing out your appointments and your oath of office. Madali lang yan. Patayin mo yan mga putang ina. Hindi mo madala sa istorya. Ihulog mo dyan sa... And there will be some minor revamps downstairs. Hihintay lang ako. Rolly is, I think, happy with the DSWD. Yun lang ang maano ko. But, I said, it might be a redundant to baka ayaw maniwala. Nobody would believe us because we utter it every day. But if there's anything that I would like to leave something, I mean just a little bit, it would be we cannot stop it actually, but we can reduce it to the barest minimum. Said yung trabaho ng TESDA, it's quite something of it could be messy at times. But I'm sure your training as a military man, just like Dragar, would augur well for the country. And that's the reason why I said time and again, I have nothing against the bureaucracy. Pero pag gusto mong, if you want something done, and done fast, per your order, you get a military man. And if there are some misgivings about any orders coming from me, rest assured that I'm a lawyer, that I do illegal orders. You can be very sure that when I say do it and do it fast, do it, because that is what is utterly lacking in this country. Wala akong sa bureaucracy. They are bright, civil service eligible. Some of them have finished their PhD. But unfortunately, the 6 years term is not just really enough. You have to move fast. And I could cite to you the Maranao siege. I needed houses immediately, and we had a corresponding funding. But had I left it to the bureaucracy, it's either it's not being done until now, or without being offensive to anyone, sometimes the fundings are lost along the way. It's always a Murphy's law. Anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. But my chances of being followed without corruption gives me the odds of the law of averages in my favor if these guys are in. I just let you know that most of them, I do not know them as personal friends, but I know them as friends. because almost all of them have been assigned to Mindanao with the many years that I was also the mayor and vice mayor and congressman of our place. God willing, if I finish my term, then I would have served my country for 40 years. I started as a public prosecutor. So yan lang ang ano ko. We will, and let me, just to give Jagger also a chance, I am ordering the freezing of all section department units of the Bureau of Customs out. General Guerrero, you can have the personnel of, and I'm ordering the Coast Guard to provide the outer periphery, and you might want to utilize some departmental, I don't know, but I'll talk to you and leave it to your discretion. You know. Out lahat. To the last man, out. The commissioners are out, the department heads out, the entire, they are as of, you better go there tomorrow sa kusina ko so that we can have the ceremonies right away. I'd like to order, where's my aide? Dilo. Pagawa mo na yung appointments nila so that we can have the ceremony tomorrow. At least there's the continuity of, but I think my orders to you, Jagger, is ilagay mo yan sila sa opisina sila. They are floating status. The outer periphery ganyan, will be taken care of by the Coast Guard. And maybe you can have, even you can utilize military men, the excess dyan sa walang trabaho, lalo na yung mga babae. You can suspend 2 or 3 days for them to learn. Hindi naman mahirap yung x-ray yan. If you are corrupt, the no amount of x-rays that's there field pitch above, you can never see it. Ha? Ang Tagalog ng Ulagway? Makita mo yung Ulagway is the view, the scenery. Unfortunately, my Tagalog is limited. Yun. See the bigger picture of the whole thing. So you can have order the suspension of SID. Stop lahat yan. Then maybe kung anong unit dyan sa military o navy kung selected. Madali lang man yung ano. And if you think that there's really something, a way which they can do it, baklasin mo lahat. And do not mind if there's a delay of 1 year in the car. Sabi ko, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. And so you have to, I leave it up to you. Trabaho mo yan eh. And so for the others, I'm just warning you that corruption is the thing that I am passionate about. Do not ask me why. But if you ask me why, I will tell you. I started as a prosecutor. During Marcos's time, there was yet no ombudsman. So the prosecutors were limited to a few. I was one of those coming from Mindanao who was designated as special non-bayan prosecutor in addition to my being a regular prosecutor of Davao City Prosecution Office. And to me, I would consider the height of, if I were also to face a court, a graft court facing charges. And I would not like that to happen to me or to you. And to you because you're imbued with love of country and the fact that we are here to help our people. Saka, kontento na tayo sa we don't have the lifestyles of the rich and famous. I mean, even if we have the money, it doesn't fit us, doesn't look good. As a matter of fact, it's ugly. So let us be content with what we have and work for the benefit of the entire Filipino nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
On that note, may we request our beloved President to remain on stage for some photo opportunities with PCG personnel. Thank you, sir.
May we call on the first batch of